like a massive fly swatter. Oh, this thing that still didn't fix my problem. Oh well, whatever. Okay.
Is it a hardware problem?
No, because if I stop recording, the problem goes away. Anyway.
So, right, where were we?
I was going to show you. Well, there's a couple of things actually. We got
It's going to be really distracting.
What's going to be distracting?
The flickering in your headset.
Oh, dude, I'm like, if I didn't have epilepsy, I may have it at the end of this session.
Right. So why don't? Because I've just factory reset my headset. I've got loads of storage. Why don't I do the recording?
That's all good.
With the recording.
That's all good. I will just deal with it.
Are you sure?
Yep. It's totally fine.
All right.
Okay. So hang on, I'm just trying to get that class diagram up. Now I've got a notification that will not die. Alright, so here is the class diagram. I will share it before you admonish me for not sharing.
Okay, DX class diagram. Okay, all right.
Alright, so here's.
And I can read.
Yeah, I just wanted to check it was all there.
All right.
These are all the platform tools as I have redesigned them. Interaction tools, these are familiar to you. These remain unchanged. Start interaction, await interaction, cancel, status, and views. Views,
well in my experience.
Yeah, views are starting to feel like maybe that's actually not needed, all things considered. I wanted to change it, so I'm still going to make the modification to make this do threads. So it's not, this function signature is not thread aware. But I'll change that. And I wanted to make it allow for the option of having structured input and output, because that seems kind of useful. So it is still plain text coming in and out, but it's saying that in some cases I want the output to be JSON, and it comes back as text, but it's just that the model is told to run as a JSON output.
So how does that work? Does it like precompile into JSON and then pass the JSON, and then you get JSON back and then put it back into the actual language?
Part of their training is they make the model able to speak pure, like compliant JSON based on a schema. So it's at the model level, the JSON is correct. So that's a common feature across many LLMs, and I have found one use case today for it when I implemented the images search function.
Yeah, okay. No problems with that. And take this in the nicest possible way. What happens underneath the boot at the NL level where there's some JSON?
That's different in that when you await, it will affect the function signature of await, because await will now optionally be able to get back some JSON structure in certain cases, but you don't lose. That's in addition to the plain text operation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, look at that! It booted.
I've had no problems with the portal.
Yeah, I just upgraded like almost every file in the in the thing.
No,
so
it's been sweet. It's the only thing
it's
I'd say
pretty stable, right? Pretty stable.
Yeah, it's really stable, but it can be slow.
Slow to boot or slow to operate?
No, I got to about I think 49% context window, and it was grinding for something really quite simple.
Okay,
Um,
so some background
so
insight into
that's
that. I
okay.
will. Would you like to know why that deficiency is occurring?
I'm curious, but I don't probably need to know why. But yes, I'm curious.
All
Very
right.
curious.
So one of the ways that we get to do what we do with just these, like, do you remember what the name of the machine was that you were experiencing slowness on?
Sure, it's
Drunk lungfish,
handicapped
hissing
jackal.
too. Handicap jackal. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I go into handicap jackal and I open up the analytics on the machine, the reason why we're able to just treat these virtual machines as so disposable is because they're very tiny. So they have just one CPU, but worse than that, that CPU is a shared CPU, which means that you're only entitled to 1/6 of the time of a regular CPU, but you over any 24-hour period you can accumulate up to 8 minutes worth of burst. Now, what likely has happened is that
Mm-hmm.
you have overshot your burst allocation, and so you were grinding back to um, about 16% of the CPU.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So let me see if that actually did happen here. So your background work,
So this was what time is it now? Roughly 12 hours ago. No, a bit more, 14 hours ago.
14 hours ago.
Mm. There you go. There it is.
So that line is you got at right now you got 8 minutes in the bank, right? But you lost, or you nearly, no, you never actually ran out.
Oh, that's interesting.
You got
Um,
low, but you never ran out. So why don't I try and go 2 days?
yeah, well, day before yesterday, I didn't do anything because I was looking at the videos again and just getting my notes together. So there should be nothing for 2 days ago. And then yesterday, I had it hard, which is there.
Yeah, so you didn't, so that didn't actually throttle. So what that could be, and see, like your user load never really went much above 15%. That's the thing why I've used such a piddly little CPU allocation is that the Codex app when it's running does not actually consume very much CPU at all. In fact,
So
it's
where's it
very
being? It's dispatching these AI calls off to OpenAI. So maybe
so
I'll
yeah,
play
it
along.
might have been do you know that it was the slowness of the machine you were on or the slowness of the API?
Um, I don't know. So let's take the chain. Definitely not the desktop. Um, Looking at it, not the
Sorry, not the machine
fly
you're on.
CPU.
The fly instance. That's really like was
Yeah.
other operations slow for the fly instance because what can happen
Mm-hmm.
um
Well, actually, I've got insight into that because what I did, um, not evenly, but I opened another agent on the same computer, and I was running two screens in parallel. So while I was waiting 10 minutes, 12 minutes for it to come back with a simple ASCII chart, I was talking to the other one,
uh
and the other
yeah,
one was
what
fast.
can you got to be careful because it can actually, if you're not seeing any thinking progress happening, it can stall sometimes. uh
No, I was looking. I don't know if this is right thing to do, but it says thinking time, and it goes up 1 second, 1 second, one
yeah, but
second.
that's not,
I'm
that's
counting that
that's
as
just
not
a
starting.
timer. That's just a timer. That what you need to watch is there like activity occurring, like messages saying what the thinking was, because while it's active, those will always be streaming in. But when it's
Ah,
stalled is when it's like it's hung on something. Now, what I notice because I watch every commit that happens in the Codex repo, Like,
Uh-huh.
so I see them all, and like these are all the types of commits that they have, and they often have commits that are like fixed system hang or fixed stalling of tool under these conditions. So they're still fixing bugs where you can actually stall the system. Like it can be everything working fine, and then it halts for some reason.
Okay.
All right. So
What experience was not so much a halt, but there was no chain of thought.
yeah, that's a
Um,
stall. So that's a stall problem.
yeah.
So I would say that what's happened is that codec stalled. I get that maybe once every probably 3 to 4 times a day. I would say I get that.
Do you get it with larger context windows?
It is unrelated. It seems related to making tool calls. Sorry, not tool
Okay.
calls. Making bash calls or Linux calls.
All right.
So whenever
Um,
it does some kind of Linux call, sometimes it can stall. Now I know that they are. So how they handle the execution function is they've switched to an experimental form of that. So that one is maybe what's happening, and it's a bit buggy. And you also got to think, why did they want to switch to a new way of executing shell commands? Well, must be that the old one has some problems that they couldn't iron out. So that that running of the shell thing is an active work. I would suspect that it
this sounds like an SAP, somebody else's problem, because it
yeah,
still ultimately came through. It was
right.
just like I did get concerned when I got to like 12,
Yeah.
13,
So
14
I
minutes.
often say like I'll press Control C to interrupt it, and then I'll just say you stalled, and then it just carries on where it left off.
Does that help, or is that just
Yeah.
adding additional
No,
input use?
if you don't want to wait, then yeah, just do it like that.
Okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely an SCP.
Okay, so I am interested in knowing because I want to know if something on our side made it slow. I want to know if something on our side made it unstable. But it looks to me like things were you were doing a lot of work, but it looks to me largely like the machinery held up
Yeah,
perfectly fine on our side.
nothing failed to return a reasonable result, other than
You didn't run out of memory.
yeah, nothing borked out. I didn't have to rerun any prompt. It just seemed to be taking ages. That was it. So if that's the SCP, I can live with that because, as I was saying, opened up two windows and was like still working on one, the other.
All right.
Uh, it's not the entirely efficient way of doing it, but the important thing is the end result, although 12, 13 minutes passed, was still reasonable. The other interesting thing is I don't know if you got an insight on this one. Some what I thought really simple requests took ages, and others that I thought would be more complex came back straight away.
It sounds like you may have also had some issues with the OpenAI status. So there was issues with the responses API. So
Uh-huh.
so that would have been about uh, yeah you
What
we
time
are
zone are we in here?
this is I'm pretty sure this is NZ time, but whenever you see an error here, it means that probably around that time there were also issues as well.
All right. Okay.
Uh, it's hard to say, buddy. Like everything looks okay on our side, but I am like slowness is a warning sign. So
It is, but well, only if we can do something about it. So we need to like categorize it into an SCP
yeah,
or into our problem.
yeah. I think
I
there's nothing
I
obvious
don't.
that makes it our problem in that case.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, and I reinforce that by saying it always eventually came back with the right answer.
All right, cool.
So I don't think it's us.
Cool. Okay, well the
Okay.
new system booted, so it's kind of like we can test the real thing or what? But shall we continue going through this class diagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why this is important is that this represents every function that the platform exposes to the bots. We
Mm-hmm.
don't have to expose every function, because different permission settings and different purposes of different agents mean that you can hold some back or whatever. But I like to imagine that these are largely, I think these are all the functions, but look, it's hard to know. The purpose of these functions is to be able to hand off to an agent as soon as possible, but you need some admin level functions to keep the integrity of the agentic system going or intact, and you need tools to refine, modify, expand the agentic system. So that's what these tools aim to do.
So probably, I don't know when you pushed this, but I started
Oh,
up the handicap jackal when it was like 4 a.m. your time. So
yeah.
um,
I only got this up
which
like about half an hour ago. So
all right,
everything
okay,
was
so
untouched until about half an hour ago.
got you. So I was working on the old version.
Yep. Yep.
That's cool. Yeah.
All right. So interactions, that's all fine. We got some minor changes there, but the general principle seems sound. Agent tools, these are what I started to think about as like the tools you use to mutate agents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've made agent create take no arguments and it just makes a blank default agent,
Mm-hmm.
because what you should really be doing is using the image tools to do stuff with the images. So this box is what I would expect every agent in the system would be given this set of tools, which contains three functions: images find, images use,
Mm-hmm.
and images feedback, which is like, tell us when we need to improve an image.
No, didn't get the feedback. Find use. Yeah, get
Yep.
feedback.
So
Also
feedback is
add.
to say like if there were problems with using. So the when we do images find, we are making the search query be a problem statement.
Mm-hmm.
That's you're stuck. Your feedback needs to tell us like, were there problems that you noticed with using this image? Like, were there some unsatisfactory behaviors about it? Because that's valuable. Um,
Okay, that's interesting. The and that feedback, how is that generated? We're talking about an external agent looking
the
at
bot, so what you
thread.
do is you call images find,
Mm,
and then you get back an image ID. Images use is effectively the same as agent create, but using booting off the image.
right. Yeah.
And it's got this affinity parameter where affinity says like, I want to use this image and I want a brand new one regardless of what else is going on. Um, or I can say if pristine, which means that I want to use this image, but I'll take an existing agent so long as the agent hasn't been mutated from from the image that it was booted with.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then if exists just says that I want to use this image. If I have ever booted any agent in my scope that used this image, I want to use that one. If not, start a new one.
Okay. All right. Um.
And that solves that rather curly problem of like, well, like independent agents searching for and arriving at the conclusion that they need the same image. They shouldn't make independent agents. They should talk to one that's already running.
Yeah, yeah, but only if it's not been mutated somehow.
Optionally though, like, because it started to become apparent to me that if you were mutating the environment using the agent create set of tools, then
Excuse me. Sorry, go on.
you are responsible for. Are you okay there?
No. Yes,
No, you're
I'm
not.
not dying.
You're not. You
Just
are
trying to,
dying. Actually, we all are, but it,
just not as fast as it was. It
not
just,
immediately.
yeah, no, no, I got a thing in my throat. No, still listening. Go ahead.
Okay, okay, okay. If you're using these agent create tools, which are effectively the mutation of an agent, whether it was booted off an image or not, and you're mutating it, you kind of have the power move here. Like, you should be responsible for making sure that any innocent agent or unawares agent that was going to call images use ought to be, you should have considered that when you were editing the environment. And so you are able to make scoped, like, you can scope the changes to within a particular agent so that the rest of the computer is unaffected. So it seemed like you were able to control the extent to which your mutations were visible while you were doing the mutations, and so therefore the onus to maintain the integrity of that environment falls upon the caller of the mutation tools.
So if I wanted to take an agent and mutate it,
Yeah.
I could mutate it in a sandbox and not
Well,
worry about messing up someone else.
yeah, correct, but it's not really a sandbox. It's this notion that, remember we were talking about having an agent being, that's what a project is? Like,
Yeah.
one particular agent is the manager of this project, and it has child agents that can do different things. So I've set the system up so that you can register images and mutate images scoped to a particular agent, so that nothing outside of that agent, if they ask for the Rogan Josh agent and you've mutated it within that project scope, the rest of the computer will still see the canonical released tested Rogan Josh agent. But within your scope, within that project, everyone will see the modified, mutated, under test version.
So similar to a fork.
Um, Similar, but at a different dimension. So it's just saying that, like, a child process looks to its parent to tell it about the environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that allows you to control that environment as the parent. And so you can tell it to look at the mutated versions, but that doesn't mean that you changed every other process's view on where the DNS server is, or what the critical system files are. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
almost like a nesting as opposed to a forking,
Yeah.
because it still allows you to jump up. Like, if you haven't overridden within that project scope, if you haven't overridden an agent, it will go up higher to the computer's view of what the Rogan Josh agent is.
So similar to, maybe more similar to diffs then. Like, if you haven't altered previous one, go up. That is what you're working with. If you have, then consider the diffs.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
maybe,
yeah. Like, if you haven't changed the file, then you're going to get the canonical view
okay.
of the file. But if you have changed it locally, you're going to see that local change.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
That seems sensible.
And so the agent mutation tools are very simple, I thought. Create just makes a completely blank thing.
Yeah.
Set system prompt allows you to obviously set the system prompt, but the key is you can mutate it while the agent's running. You don't have to declare it at startup. So I changed my stance on that one. I took the view that when you're mutating an agent, you're in a sandbox and you want to play with it and you want quick feedback. And so changing the system prompt, and then the fact that we've also got multi-threading going on with the conversations means that you can go set sysprompt, start new thread, and now you're loaded with the new system prompt and off you go. And so that's a very quick iterative loop to test out changes.
Yeah. Um, it seems to me that I'm looking at the now by system prompt. You mean instructions.md?
No, I mean the actual system prompt, like the thing that I recommend you don't override. If you want to override agents.md, you use set working instructions.
Yeah. So the way I've been doing it is, I think 3 calls ago you give an exemplar of how to not wipe out instructions.md and instead put the specifics of what you're trying to do
Mm.
into agents.md, and
Mm-hmm.
that's been working quite well.
Okay, great, great, great. Um, I will also, what I'm gonna do. So right now, all of the calls that you make that go to OpenAI, they go out through a proxy, which is this one, the imaginatively named OpenAI proxy. And the reason for that is because the I can't leak the API keys to OpenAI, because if you got our API keys, you could just run off and spend all the stuff, right? So
Mm.
it goes through the proxy so that you never, each worker machine never sees the API keys for OpenAI. And this was where I was going to put billing and other such accounting level exercises. But what I realized I can also do is I can tap that. So if I have the logs here, and say I go into Codex and I say hi, you
Mm-hmm.
can see that the logs come through that say we are making this request now,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how long the request took. What I can also do is I can dump the requests and the response to the NFS storage, so that when you're in here, you'll be able to browse to it and see the actual request that went out. And when I do that, then I will be able to confirm for you what the actual, or you'd be able to do it either yourself or pointing an agent at it to interpret those debug messages, those dumps on the communications out to OpenAI. You would be able to then verify whether your efforts to set the working instructions or the system prompt did actually take and were making it all the way through to the requests, because that's actually the most subversive kind of problem, which I've hit probably a couple
Yeah.
times here already, is that you think you're making changes, but for some weird reason, it's not ultimately making it into the model on OpenAI's end, or it's coming through distorted or
I've
truncated,
seen
or
that. I've seen that.
otherwise,
I
yeah.
ran a couple of parallel tests yesterday,
Yeah, it's
and
frustrating as hell, because you're like, well, this
yeah.
thing should be doing what I say, but it's not. And then yeah, it turns out that actually something in the pipeline was tampering with what you expected your things to do. So if I put that in there, then it means that we'll be able to verify 100% that all of the tool prompting and the function calls and the sys prompting and the agents.md, all of that is actually making it through to the model or not, and we'll be able to see it with certainty.
Yeah, that's good. This might be helpful, might not be. Yesterday, I was creating with what's his name, Handicap Jackal, um, a multi-agent workflow for the note taker thing. And then I jumped into one of the agents because I had the URL, and I gave it at the same time the original kind of author one, get this new agent to do this, and then in the actual agent, I got it to do that, and the answers were wildly different. It was strange, and it's like, why? But there was no way to diagnose
Mm.
where have you gone wrong.
Yeah, so that's an important part of our diagnosis. So I'll get onto that
Yeah.
reasonably early. Okay.
Okay.
Agent lists. Obviously, that's just listing out what agents are available. I started returning the agent toml
Mm-hmm.
when you list now, so you can see the config of it. I also um, moved it so that when you check out a workspace, when you check out a repo into your workspace,
Uh-huh.
it's stored in the agent toml. So the agent toml now says what repos you've got checked out into your workspace, so that it can be recreated from just that file.
Oh, that's cool. And that's obviously separate from its own personal workspace. We're talking about I want to work on this repo with
Yep.
others, but this is my agent. I
Well,
may like them,
yeah.
but
So
this is
yeah,
mine.
I don't know if that's like we need to modify how that works. But basically, the computer has repos that are full blown traditional Git repos with everything.
Ah,
Each, if you check it out, if you check out the repo into a workspace in an agent, it's making a very shallow, lightweight branch that is just for that agent based on those repos stored in the computer, as opposed to allowing the agent to check out a full blown Git repo from somewhere else. It's free to do that if it wants, but it's not recommended. Like, the way that you
how,
want to do it is to have the repos in one spot on the computer, and then you've got all these different branches coming off them for each agent.
I mean that's okay. Uh, because if I've got a coworker working on uh, a repo of canonical work that's nothing to do with the agent, but it's what the agent is working on, and I want someone else to have their own agent, and they can configure that to look at the same repo I'm working on, so long as it's on the same computer. That
Mm,
seems okay.
mm,
I mean,
yeah,
to be honest, as a user, you really don't care where it's stored, so long as it doesn't disappear, right?
yeah. So that was the model that I settled on there.
Okay.
Um,
Um.
and the reason for that change is that I realized that I'm gonna move the workspace to be stored on the host, because the host gets thrown every time you shut down the host. Everything gets blanked and it all gets thrown away.
Uh-huh.
And that's how the workspace, that allows me to do effectively automatic cleanup of the workspace, because right now I'd been storing the workspace on the NFS store, and so
Uh-huh.
every time you make a new agent and then you check out a repo into the workspace, you've got all these copies of the workspace there. Plus, it starts to be tempting to leave something uncommitted in the workspace. But if the workspace is truly ephemeral and related only to the host container, and it gets blown away, then that seems like the cleanest.
Okay, I'm not sure I fully understood that, but my experience working with this is it's a little bit like an EV range anxiety. It's like is this actually going to be stored somewhere? And sure, yes, it is.
Yeah, so it'll be that commit thing will right now automatically happens at the end of every turn if there have been changes to the repos. So yeah, you should not lose any data whatsoever. I'm just like leaning on that now to do auto cleanup of the workspace, because what I don't want is for the workspace to not be in a pristine condition when the next run begins, because the workspace is supposed to have been fully committed.
What happens if you've got 2 or 3 people working on a common repo?
Yeah.
2 have committed, but 1 is still working.
Because they're all in their independent branches, there's no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay. So the person is still working and is about to hit enter,
Mm.
and someone else spins up 1 new
Yep.
agent that accesses the same repo. They would be able to see your commit when the person who's working hits return.
Correct. Everyone who's working on a repo can see the other branches.
Okay, that's neat. That's neat. Okay.
You start with you fork off of the main branch. So whatever the main branch was at when you booted or when you added to your workspace, that's the view that you see. And then you are also able to see everyone else's. You can also pull down changes to the main branch. You can also navigate around and check out and look at other agents' work as well.
What's the plan of, okay, so the situation is multiple people working on a shared repo, which is the canonical information. Each have got different agents that you can configure and so on.
Mm.
What happens if there's a clash where 2 people working on the same file and you got, diffs and...
That's just a merge conflict, and the AI will need to sort it out for you or the users if it's people.
It's best if the AI does it.
Yep. Oh well, that's your problem.
That's quite a gnarly one. Okay.
No, I don't think it is, because humans sort that out all the time. I think that's pretty easy for an AI to sort out a merge conflict.
Or highlight, certainly, a merge conflict. You've been working on the same file as Jim.
Mm.
Your file is different from Jim's. It's like, well, ultimately we want the AIs to deconflict based on the thread, or at least acknowledge that there are diffs, and it's almost like you want the AIs to say, do you have any objections to this reconciliation? Because mostly it's probably not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This has been good.
Okay.
What's a blowfly?
I don't know. I'm just my ideas for testing agents. I really need to get some new ideas, but all I do is I just make them act like. So capitalist prawn is gonna be the. You are a blowfly trapped in text form. Always stay in character. Greet with a buzz. Okay. So capitalist prawn is booted and it now has blowfly instructions. Excellent. Now, what MCP? Now this is the bit where it gets tricky. I wanna set that create an image out of capitalist prawn and name it blowfly.
Now, blowfly will now only be known by hissing turkey as redirecting to capitalist prawn. Is that right? Or is that going somewhere else?
Whoa, shit. Say that again, sir?
Hissing turkey will now know that blowfly is another name for capitalist prawn. But nobody else will know.
Fuck. That is a good point, buddy. So you caught me. You hit my battleship. Let me make a note of that. So,
a hit, a palpable hit. Sorry about that. Something of hit with what I was doing actually over the last week. It's great. The uh, naming agents with a nickname really works, but only in thread. But then it's lost. Then you've got a namespace clash problem necessarily if you
Well,
share.
yeah. So what happened there is that if I had have created the agent from the blowfly image, then it would be known as the blowfly. But
Yeah.
but because I created the image from the agent, I didn't back propagate it. So
Right.
that
Yeah.
original agent is still just the original agent. It's not named as anything.
Yeah. 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 I've stumbled over that problem a couple times now. It's fine one thread, happy days. Going to another thread, it's like you kind of have to
Yeah.
reinstantiate
Yeah, but
the
I
agent
just
to do anything.
I'm not 100% sure that what I'm saying, like I'm not sure if my notion of it is known as blowfly is the same as yours, because that you might be asking for um something slightly different, like almost like a mini agent DNS, because you want to say something like
Sort of, yeah.
talk
It's
to
like,
the blowfly
yeah,
about the smell here.
which
Is that what you
works,
want to do?
yeah, which works inside of a single thread.
Right, right.
But I'm thinking about you and I working together, and
Okay,
I say,
so
hey, check
I
out
still,
Blowfly.
even though the image is called blowfly, I still need to make the agent name be whatever it is. Like I need a unique name for it, right? And so the way I started thinking about it is you could talk about images like they were roles. So like you could hire a plumber whose name was capitalist prawn, right? His role is the
Oh, you
plumber,
mean like
and
nesting?
no, it's
Um,
more like saying that an image is really creating a role. So if you wanted to talk to someone, if you wanted to call on the role, like if I want to be like, hey, tell the plumber to go and do this thing, the plumber would have been an agent that was booted from the plumber image, but the agent that is running that plumber image is in fact its own entity with its own name. It may be called Bucking Kangaroo, for example, but Bucking Kangaroo is the plumber.
yeah, and this is probably not for now, but I see problems with that already. Um,
What? What
Take a
problems?
work site where you've got company A, company B, both plumbers, both being hired. It's like tell the plumber that their work is shoddy.
Yeah,
Which
but
one are
that's
they going to
fine
talk
though,
to?
because that's like, well, which plumber do you mean in this context? And so we get around that by the scope. So, in that sense, our organizational hierarchy, like if you imagine the process tree of parents and children and grandchildren, is like the org chart of a company, we enforce that. So, at any given level, you always know who's who, so you don't really have that ambiguity sitting around.
Yeah, but how do you do that with namespace clashes? You can't call two different companies plumber. You have to say plumber A, plumber B.
Well, at the moment, I require you to tell me which computer you're talking about. So if we modeled companies as computers, you would have to say which the plumber at company A. If you didn't say which computer ID you wanted to use, then I default to using yours. So if you don't
I,
mention,
I guess you could rely on the AI to flop to the right plumber by saying, giving it a bit more context. Tell the plumber who just put in that bathroom that it's shoddy,
right,
and
and then it could
it
hunt that
should be
down
able
because
to.
it's like, well,
Yeah,
that I got a role for a plumber that's our local plumber, but he didn't have anything to do with a bathroom. However, we
right.
called on this other computer's plumber, So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
must
and
mean
he's
that
got
one.
lots of stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah,
So it's that one, not this one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that should work. That should work. Okay,
yeah. So
because the alternative is to get some kind of unique index, which I think is unnecessary.
well, it also hurts. It hurts the because context is very, very fluid. Like that's what's wild about context is that it can be anything at any time and it can change. And as soon as you start being like the index, it's like, oh god, dude, like, like
Yeah,
and now you're not fluid. And so the way I've been thinking
well,
about it is that in a company, everyone's got their first name and their last name and some middle name that they'll try to hide, but they don't really. You don't employ someone and then tell them to change their name. Like you just accept whatever name they came with, and you're like, okay, Hanamana Rana Pesaman.
right, but
You
you can refer to them by the work. For example,
yeah, but that's when you're
I think this is
talking. You're addressing
this
the role. You're talking about
yeah,
their
this you
role.
could say something like, right, tell that effer who put in these tiles that is just not acceptable.
Right, so that's implication. So now you're addressing them by their work, by their
Yeah,
deeds. Yeah,
right,
and
right.
you want to
So
be able to address them by all sorts of things because you don't always know what you want, right? The thing that you grab as context that you feel the bots should know about can really be anything. It could even be a
yeah,
cryptic riddle.
yeah, and at small level is not such a problem, but as a thought experiment, I was thinking yesterday about what it takes to build a skyscraper. Lots of contractors, each with their own, you've got this bit to do and so on.
Yep.
You can't, with cognitive load, remember the name of every contractor, but, you're going out inspecting and saying, right, those tiles need to be ripped out and replaced. Tell whoever put that in, they need to do that.
Mm. I think that
Um,
this works here. So, is this
that's a
a
good one.
sentence you would want to say? Talk to the blowfly, and you would expect the system to know because I booted an agent from an blowfly image, you would expect
Well,
that it goes and talks to
let's
that agent, right?
let's let's try an experiment if you're okay with this. The way I run that experiment is say, um, Blowfly has put in a bad smell here, and then the next one I say is something like, tell whoever put that bad smell in to make it, nicer.
Yeah, so that works perfectly fine. I don't want to be
Yeah, yeah.
testing
I
the
think
way
that would
that
work. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
I don't want to be testing the way that the bots can string together contextual logic. What I want to be testing is so when we're talking right now, the component I'm thinking I need is to maintain a tiny little registry of which images have been turned into agents for the current scope, because otherwise this sentence I've just typed in, talk to the blowfly about the smell here, that would not get resolved with high probability because I don't store a direct mapping of which images have been turned into which agents. I store that information inside the agent, but it's not able to be accessed in reverse. Like it's not
yeah.
obvious that accessing it in reverse is needed. And so what I'm thinking while we talk is I got to make a little bit that allows that information to surface backwards.
Yeah, because you've called this blowfly. I could, equally access, what is it? Capitalist prompt, is it?
Capitalist
Um,
prawn.
I could access that by saying, mofo,
Tell
and
that mofo.
we'll be talking about the same thing. But in your head,
Yeah,
you
right.
know,
So I don't
blowfly.
want to test that because I know that works, and that really comes down to the bot's logic processing abilities. Um,
Yeah.
so so
Um,
let me just bring this up, and I'll show you what I mean.
sure. Yeah. just while you're doing that, I've not found a problem yet using two different browsers with different landing agents talking to the same thing with different local names for the same thing. That that seems to just flop.
Okay.
Tried that and it works. Mostly because of the thread of the landing agent.
Okay. So what I might do then, the easiest way I can find to give you what you want, if I go agent list and I give you like agent list by image or agent image list or something like that, because then I can, instead of just listing the agents on the computer, I can list the agents grouped by image. So then you can decide if you want to talk to the role, aka the image, or you want to make a new one, I guess.
Yeah, that works. In fact, this was part of the thread I was on yesterday, where it said, "Show me all the agents available," and then I asked, and it failed on this one. What do each do? I can't
What do each
remember.
do?
Yeah,
That's a bit of a nasty one, isn't it?
it's like because it came up with a list of about 40 agents.
Yeah.
It's like I can't remember. Help me. I'm a monkey.
Right. So if I go and browse into, see, here's the image. Oh, it didn't make the. I haven't tested this. I just got it booting, so that's why. Yeah. So hissing turkey. That's why this is faulty. This is clearly going to be my day tomorrow. Hissing turkey has the blowfly. It's because it made the blowfly locally to hissing turkey. So
Ah,
yes, this was the agent toml that it made for images slash blowfly, and the agents .md URL blowfly trapped in text form.
yeah.
Right, so it's kind of come out. It's
Is
scoped
that the
it.
right place for it? That's interesting. Because Blowfly, I'd expect of being a local alias for Hissing Turkey instead of something inside of Hissing Turkey.
Why would you expect that?
Um, uh, why would I
Because
expect
what I
that?
did is
Because
I made this. I made a new agent, right?
yeah,
That was capitalist prawn, and then I said I want to create an image out of capitalist prawn and name it blowfly. But by it, I meant the image. Did you think I meant the agent?
yes.
So what do you want to go around anointing agents as these aliases? Like you want to be able to name them on the
Well,
fly?
this I'm not sure that my approach is the best one here, but I don't want to remember capitalist prawn because it's very low in information in terms of what it does. But blowfly,
Right.
I can remember.
Yeah. So I
Um,
can give you that with the system I laid out. I can let you refer to it as blowfly, but what I can't see an easy way to do is to let you change it to fruit fly on the hop, and so that
I've
you refer to it
yeah,
now as fruit fly.
never. Uh, well, two things. I've never thought that that was a thing I would need to do. But also, if I wanted to, I could do that in thread. But it would be reasonable that it's like, hey,
Like you
stop
wouldn't
with
want it to
blowfly.
update globally, right? Because
No, yeah,
the name of the agent should carry no weight. It's simply a way to discriminate between different agents. It's almost like an
Right.
ID. Like it's meant to carry no value. It's just
Right, right.
right.
And
But if
so
you're like,
Capitalist Prawn henceforth is known as Blowfly. If I want to rename Blowfly in the thread, I want to call Blowfly Mofo. Then I can, when that thread, is done with, Mofo is discarded. Nobody
yeah.
knows
But
ever
what I
touch it.
think is valuable is because if I had booted capitalist prawn from the blowfly image, the next time I say talk to the blowfly, I would expect it to know that that translates to capitalist prawn because capitalist prawn is booted from the blowfly image, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So that sounds good. And if there were multiple ones, like I started several instances from the blowfly image, so we've got a bit of a swarm going on, I'd be like, tell the blowfly this. It's like, which one? There's not enough information to figure out which one you mean. Do you want me to tell all of them?
Well, then you'd say, right, I want to talk to Blowfly, um, and cognitively, it's like Blowfly. I was last talking to you about tiles in this bathroom.
Yeah, like tell the
Yep.
blowfly that last landed on my sandwich.
Yeah.
Blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Right. So yeah, but that
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that sounds fine. That sounds like it's doable here. It also made me think that to exercise the system, we should be able to set up a very simple game between multiple agents. Like I should be able to tell two agents to figure out how to play a game of chess with each other, right?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Um. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you're playing them at chess, and I should be able to not say anything else, and then they talk to each other, and they're like, hi, do you want a game of chess? Yes, I do. Blah, 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 blah. How should we do the moves? Well, you go first. Okay, you go first. No, what about? And there might be like an overseer, like a project manager that makes sure that they don't stall.
Yeah.
Because
Because they
you
could
can
be like
totally end
moving
up
pawn, 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 pawn.
you can
In the
totally
middle of
end
the
up in
yeah,
deadlock as well. You're like, shall I go
yeah,
first? No, no, you go first. And they're like, okay.
yeah.
And then that's the end of it. And you're like, are you there? Like,
Well, the overseer there is basically the rules. Um,
no, 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 no. Like
not
the
not the rules of chess. It's the rules of the game. It's like you've got 30
no.
seconds to decide.
You
If
still
you
need
move,
an overseer because otherwise the two agents might talk themselves into a stale, like a no movement situation. So
uh,
you need a project manager because it's possible to deadlock agents very easily, just like in programming. There's no real way to
yeah.
not have them deadlock when you gave them an open-ended task. So you need a watchdog over the top being like, "Ah, oh, you guys just deadlocked. Listen, you do this bit and you do this bit." So,
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. So above the or below the level of the game is how they're doing it, and if
mm,
they're arguing about whose move it is to make next, or something really simple with that,
mm,
um, you would need some kind of oversight going.
yeah,
Guys, get your
yeah,
shit
yeah.
together. Come on.
But that sounds like a good simple test, right? Telling two agents to play a game of chess, and they
I've got
also have.
quite high confidence that if we, I'll do this as a test actually.
Mm,
I think I think it would just work.
yeah, I think so
It
too.
would be interesting to see where or if it deadlocked. Anyway, okay, right, okay.
Yeah. All right. So
I'll give that a go.
I think I got you covered if I just simply give you the ability to do agent list, but list by image as opposed to list by agent name, or even just some like prompting in the agents.md that or the tooling that told it that if you talk to it like that, capitalist prawn name it blowfly, then you need to look for image names of the agents, and that's what I mean.
I think that second one feels right.
Mm.
Because you could always talk to the agent directly if you knew that capitalist prawn was blowfly, but you couldn't remember what blowfly was. Was it
Mm.
like gadfly or
Mm.
something
Mm.
else? It's like, no, remember capitalist prawn.
Mm.
And then the fallback is, you say, list me all the agents. And I'm really keen on this one now. I'd like to put in a function request on this one. Um, when you ask for agents, you get some, shorts, 8 words, summary of what it is. That would be
What it
very
is?
helpful.
Well, what is it? What's hissing turkey?
Get it to generate its own, bio. It's like, I am
What?
hissing
Why do you
turkey.
need a
I am a blowfly.
bio more than the agent toml? Because you've
Because
also got if you read the agent toml and the agents.md, that's everything you need to know about what the agent is,
yeah,
right?
but I want to do. I don't want to go into the file and folders in order to find that. I want to say, for example, list me all the agents I can see, and that list would be very helpful if there's a single line generated by itself saying, "I am a blowfly,"
Oh, right.
or
Well, that would probably be best stored in the agent toml under like description.
yeah. It's just it's declaration of hissing turkey is a blowfly would be enough. Glorious crab deals with HR, whatever.
Right. Okay,
Um,
so in the description of the agent toml, we will generate. Okay, cool.
I'm second, something heavy just fell on the floor. Oh, it's my phone. Okay. Yeah, and this is
Yeah.
just again to get off the cognitive load of having to like figure out. If it just said, "Hey, I'm a blowfly. Hey, I do HR stuff," it would be really helpful, just as a byline when you say what agents you have. And so if
Right.
the agent
There's also
knows,
like what's the live status? Like what are you doing right now is sort of another useful thing that I think the bots should generate
that
in
would
the
be great.
background.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's like um, what are my agents? Boom, 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 boom. And it's like,
Mm.
okay, blowfly. I'm currently trying to figure out what the smell is.
Mm. All right. So
The
I'll make those modifications to agent list.
Yeah, can I just put a marker for something later on in this conversation? Is agent creation. Um, but we'll come back to that.
All right. Sorry, what am I supposed to do with that?
No. That's if you can remind me if I forget. But anyway, doesn't
All
matter.
right.
Agent creation is quite important. But I'll tell you why later.
Agent status, same thing. This is a key one. So you go agent create to get basically your blank container, and then you chat to it, change the system prompt, change the working instructions. You might want to, oh man, fuck, I keep thinking of things to add. Probably need to modify the MCP tools. So you should be able to basically mutate the agent, and then once you think it's ready to be reused, you call agent create image, and that snapshots it, and then now it's available to be instanced by or reused elsewhere.
Brilliant. Okay, so then, um, if I were to, if there's an image available,
Yeah.
I say create blowfly, or something that smells stuff.
Yeah, so those are two great ways to enter the problem. Okay, the first one, you're like, I want an agent that can smell stuff.
Yeah.
You would call images find. Your problem statement would be, I need an agent that can smell stuff. Situation specifics would be something, specific to what you're doing to help understanding, if you even want to pass it. What should
Okay.
come back is the blowfly image.
What if there's more than one thing that can smell things? Maybe there's a blowfly and a pig.
You will only get one back because there's an agent in there choosing for you.
What if it's too ambiguous?
You'll get the default image.
I think we probably this is a prompting thing. I think there's probably an agent there that says, let's check all the images that can smell stuff. And it's like, oh, there's a blowfly and there's a pig. You haven't given me enough context because you've been too ambiguous.
Oh, like you wanna, so you just want a rejection path where it's like,
yeah, but that feels like another agent, right? That feels like workflow.
no, that is the agent. So the way that I've been dealing with agents now in this new model is where are we? Is that there's these default names.
Mm-hmm.
So here I've got this default name at landing -web. What that means is that when you come in on the web page and you haven't told me anything at all, you just landed on the agentic.dreamcatcher.land, I'm going to make you a computer and then I'm going to look for the at landing web agent, and then I'm going to create a new one of those and pass you off to it. Right? And that's how I always know landing web. Now, if you phoned up on your phone and our SIP system, our telephony system, received the call, now I'm going to look for the voice landing agent because it's voice capable, it's got this other stuff. And then I'm going to instance that agent based on that image. And then I'm going to hand off that incoming communication to that instance of the agent now.
Okay, I've got a load to speak to on that point, but carry on.
Okay, this is the agent that we've been talking about just now, is the image search agent. So this is the default computer-wide image search agent, so that anytime any agent makes this call, images find, it's going to ultimately be passed over to that agent. And that agent can deal with it however the prompting, the tooling, and whatever else is going on.
Right. So it passes that off to an extant agent, presumably a kind of long existing agent that updates itself if new images are added and so on.
Well, the images are added in a repo, so it's always aware of the latest thing. So basically, the trick there is to turn a tool call into something that an agent handles. That's really the critical thing. That's the thing that took my time, right? Like, that's the critical shift. Before, it was like tools just run software. This particular thing is the first example of tools talk to an agent to get the answer for the tool, and then it comes back as though it was a tool call. No one's any the wiser, and now the tool call is completed.
Okay, so where does the AI come in that? The AI concierges, the tool call for you calls it and then comes back, or is it?
No, the AI is at the other end of the tool call. Your tool call was turned into an interaction that was sent to the agent, and then the response came back, and that was given back as the tool call response. That's the
Okay.
trick.
All right.
That's the trick.
Right. So the tool itself is obfuscated. You never need to know what the tool
You
is.
don't
You
know
just want
what's
the
behind it.
response.
It's sort of none of anyone's concern. You just know that you made this tool, and the computer will provide you with an answer for
Yeah.
what image you should use.
And if,
Or, as you say, it should, or a protest that says that's not enough information. I need to know more.
right. Right. Again, we're talking about you're talking to an agent. Maybe that agent calls that tool call. Maybe that agent talks to another agent that makes that tool call, but then passes back saying, "Hey, I have no idea. You said, what's the weather? I have no
Mm,
idea where you are.
mm,
Doesn't make sense. Tell me where you are."
mm.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
But that's the critical trick, turning it into an agentic problem, and then that sort of makes it your problem because it's like prompting and whatever. That's how the find functionality is improved in the system, is with prompting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, actually, yes, yes. Uh, no, there was an aside there, but I don't need to say it.
All right. Once you get back your image from this call,
Mm-hmm.
then you use images use to create an instance of the agent
Yep,
based on that image.
yep,
So in what we just discussed, if I go images use blowfly, then the agent I get back, I should be able to talk to it as and call it blowfly. I'm like, hey, go tell blowfly to blah 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 blah. Even though it has its own name, capitalist prawn,
yep.
I can still refer to it as its image.
Perfect. But
Right.
that's you've called it blowfly. I've called it mofo. But we could be reusing the same running instance or not.
Yeah, but its image and its agent name are permanent. If you nickname it in the system, then that only holds as long as the thread holds.
Yeah,
If you
refer
really
to it
want to
previous
get
conversation.
fancy
Yeah.
about it, you could make your agent store that in a repo so that when new threads kicked off, it used your little in-house DNS service to
Yeah,
register. I just feel like that's not the platform's problem. Like at that point,
no,
the
it's
the platform can step
sorry.
aside.
Yeah. I no, I agree. I think we've talked previously about 20 minutes ago about this. The if it's in the thread, then you can do anything with that thread. You could just say, stick that in this repo. Every time I
Yeah,
talk to that, go to that.
yeah.
But
So I
that's the
guess really
user's problem.
that's
That's the user's problem.
I'm just trying to get out of the way. Like that, I'm trying to be as minimal as possible. All that anything that even smells remotely cosmetic, I want to push it into agent land.
Yeah, yeah. You can play tunes on this because
Yeah,
every
at some
user has
point
a
you need
right.
it. No matter all the nicknames in the world, at some point you need to hit an ID like result,
Yeah.
either an ID for an image or an ID for an agent. But above that, you can rename to your heart's content in agent land. But you gotta short out to the platform with IDs. The platform can't help you without that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's just these are very helpful things. And if you want to make it more helpful, then
yeah. Go for your
then
life, right?
crack on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So images feedback is the last one. I don't think we need to even go into that for now. It's really just part of the improvement cycle. Like,
Yeah.
would you
Yeah.
like to take a survey?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Okay,
But
stuck
I think
stuck
there's quite a lot of
tools.
complexity there.
Stuck
Hmm.
tools. I don't think we need to go into now either, because that's really called by the agent that backs images find would
Yeah.
take
That
that
you're
problem statement and would use those tools to deal with improvements and changes and all that.
Yeah. Have you? I mean, you've got stuck links and images. I think that is parsimonious enough and actually quite neat because the stuck loop really needs an agent because I can't remember what it was, Capitalist Dragon
Mm.
um, came up with, well, there's different types of stucks. It's like this is a query, or I've observed this. There are a couple others, and so on. But that really needs to go into an agent.
That is a genetic problem, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get these minimum tools out and a minimum file structure to make it so that the agents are capable of dealing with all the nuance and all the intellect that is required to move the system on. But I I honestly think that it's kind of like, sure, I might have missed a function or two, but it's pretty much,
It's pretty good.
it's like, what else do you need, man? Like, what do
Well,
you,
take links. Would links include links to uh, the repo of another agent?
what? Links,
So what do you
links
mean
are
by
only, my links. You should probably lead with that, buddy. Um,
yeah? Sorry,
I just decided links mean a
my
certain
mouth
thing.
is racing. My brain is racing ahead of my mouth. Um,
All
yeah.
right,
So what's a link?
a link is saying that this stuck ID is solved by this image ID, and that's all.
Ah, right. Okay.
And why that's important is because so long as the problem statement is, so long as all the problem statements are phrased the same or posed the same, the embeddings will get you everything nearby. So you'll get good clustering out of that. And so when you see anytime you see a problem statement, what you do is get the clusterings around it and then see which ones of those have got links that point to images that you can use.
Okay. That works. So well, let me stress test this a bit. Say if we've got an autonomous agent that is looking for where people have got frustrated, trying to do something and they couldn't, in multiple agents, and there is a stuck registrar. It's like that's a stuck, and so on. You want to refer back to this status of all the times that these people got stuck doing the same thing or trying to do the same thing and failed in order to resolve that. Is that covered by links? It is covered by images. It's like for what is it covered by images? You're looking for the running instance of where the person got stuck, and they might not have declared a stuck. Someone else might have done the same thing different way. Someone else might have done the same
Yep.
thing different
That
way.
becomes background agents that can be set up to run arbitrarily that would, at the end of their job, make modifications using these functions to update the images, to update the links, or to update the stucks.
Okay, so for update is stucks, the stuck in this instance is three people who have tried to do this with this image. They're each running their own instance, but they come across the same problem. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we've got a recurring problem here. Um, uh, this is an agentic thing or an agent thing. The agent will say, "Hey, three people tried to do the same thing in different ways. They couldn't do it. That's definitely a stuck." How does the stuck tool allow for linking back to those original instances?
Oh, like as
Uh,
like context information.
yeah, I'm not
Uh,
I'm not
uh,
talking about the agentic level. I'm talking about at the tools level. This
yeah.
is supported.
I hadn't planned for it at the moment, but
Mhm.
it will as we expand out what the data structure of a stuck is. So I started with just the bare minimum. For now, a stuck is just a problem statement and the situation specifics. The situation specifics was what I thought would sort of, I could automatically capture like the snapshot of the running agent later, so I can grab the git commit of the agent state at the time the stuck was filed and be like, this was the position it was in. You can use that to debug. But
Yeah,
that felt like
it's like evidence, isn't it?
yeah, that
And
felt
that
like
can be stored in a repo.
a
Okay.
separate phase that we would do because we don't have enough agentic capability to be able to deal with that information now. And
Yeah.
so I just wanted to get this bare basic thing up, and then we can play around with, okay, now we need more structure in a stuck because we want to do this, gather context and work through context to solve the stuck.
Yeah, I would reframe that a bit in that this is not your problem, um, because we're talking about whether the tooling can deal with it.
Yeah,
And fair enough, this
this is
is
my problem. This is my problem only so far as defining the format of what's inside of a stuck. But the aside from that, it's an agentic problem, a
yeah.
prompting problem from
You've
that
been
point on.
making some quite good progress on stocks, and all of it is agentic.
Great.
The only thing that is missing is where to store the stock. And
So
we'll
I
explain
handle
about that.
that. Yeah, so I handle that.
So we can come back to that, but
Yeah.
I think I'm
So
in
there are
terms of the
there's
agentic thing,
yeah
I'm really quite far on. But
there's stuck create and stuck
yeah,
destroy. So that's where you make your
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Those are self-evident. Um, okay. Well, I think we'll come back to this. But
Definitely,
in
like
terms of the tooling,
this is an area of big expansion, but I really don't think the tooling is going to change very much from this.
I don't think so. I think this is almost all agentic.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
agent land from here on in.
I can show you what I've done so far on the stuck loop.
Yeah, that's
And
cool. Shall we finish these functions to make sure we get to the end of it?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so repo tools. Um, this is for managing the repos at the computer level.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got repo workspace checkout, which is how you go from a repo that's in your computer to something in your workspace that you can mess around with and ultimately commit.
So in NL, how would I indicate that's what I want to do? Say if there's a shared space.
So you would say, um, what repos have I got? And then I would say check out the, I guess the reasoning repo.
Mm-hmm.
So it called, so these are it called platform repo list, which was the correct tool call. It's
Yeah.
got howl, test one, artifact codex, codex network, blah, 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 blah. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, check out the reasoning repo.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes repo workspace checkout. And now under workspace, you see that there is the reasoning repo now.
Okay. And now I make changes to that.
You make
Once the
changes to
stuck
that, and
happened,
then
what to do?
you can see the git history here, or
Yeah.
you can here's an example of it. Then I can go add a file in there named booboo.txt.
Boo-boo. Really?
And then that's in that's in the repo now. If I do this interaction, so
Mm-hmm.
do an interaction with yourself, which would be at self to say hello.
What? Explain that to me. I don't understand. Yourself at self.
Yeah, so now I'm going to simulate having been called by another agent so that I can show you the automatic commit behavior.
Oh, I see. Oh,
That's
right.
all.
Okay. Right. So it's like a local loop. What's I can't remember the network name for that, but yeah,
Loop back.
back this one.
What did I say? Um,
Okay, quite a lot. Just an aside, quite a lot of interaction because I'm being a bit um, puritanical about just using L,
See, there
about
you go. And
getting it
now,
to do the right thing. Quite often you say the same thing twice and it does the right thing in terms of tool calls, but I don't know why yet. It's just
so
a note.
you can see here that the auto commit happened here.
Uh-huh. Yep.
It said what the message it received was, what the result was, and what thread ID it was. And you can
Mm-hmm.
see that the committed file was boo boo. So
Okay. So
after it got spoken to, it auto committed.
auto committed to its own checked out repo or
Yeah,
to the original repo.
to its own checked out repo in its own branch. So if
So
I
how do
go
you
into that,
or command line? No, I'm trying to do it through
buddy,
NL.
that's not, you're not helping. Like, that's
Okay,
like, I'm trying to show you what's happening under the hood. I can't do that from just sitting there doing
fair enough.
text, right? So in here, the you were asking about which repo did it commit to. It
Yeah,
committed to, this is the branch it's on.
yeah,
So it's committed to the how repo, but it's in its own branch. So if I, for example, listed all the branches there in that repo, um, then several agents have got branches checked out.
yeah,
Homely Mink, Sick Jellyfish, Solar Falcon, Tough Boar. The main branch is like the canonical branch of the Hell Repo, but all of these agents have got their own branch checked out, and I could reach in there and pull out whatever I wanted.
yeah. Okay, all right. Topic for another day, and I apologize for being puritanical about the NL thing. It seems that I should be able to in NL say, "Great, I made a bunch of changes to this repo. Can you commit them for me, please?"
Yeah, you should be able to do that, but that's not my problem to solve. Like, my
No,
problem is to
yeah.
give you the tools that a properly prompted bot would be able to do that, but making that prompting right is your job, not my job.
Well, the prompting is actually quite simple, so long as it knows what I mean by branch and repo and commit, which it
Yeah.
probably does already. I'll check that out later on today.
Yeah, so that's I don't know how you're gonna like auto test that or set up little scripts or something, but basically I feel like is it rude to say that I think you've got all the tools you need?
Well, again, I've been hammering this quite hard, and other than some weirdness, which is almost certainly at the agent level,
Hmm.
where I can ask one thing, and it goes, uh, "Yes, I've done that," and it's quite clearly not done that. And I say, "No, you've not done that. Try again," and it does it. Other than that sort of thing, it was purely agentic problem. First
Other
world
than
problems.
like, what is that? It's not belligerence. It's deceptive, or just like childishly deceptive. It's like, dude,
Yeah, yeah, and there's quite a few examples where literally I've just cut and pasted the previous prompt and run it a second time and got
oh,
it
you
to
don't
do it
need to copy
correct,
paste when you do that. You
or just
can.
gone up arrow. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right. So what? Like, that's kind of the issue or the difference between us, right? Like, I'm not interested in prompting because that's your job. I'm interested in getting the tooling enough that you could do the prompting,
Yeah, but
right?
there's a grey area where what I'm trying to do is like give you examples of the prompting and where it's
Yeah,
gone a bit yeah,
right. Yeah, where
and
it's
see
gone
if we need
a
any
bit wonky.
tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there really hasn't been many.
Mm.
The
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 tool,
big thing is
the
with stuff.
mechanism, the
Sorry,
sorry, what's that?
um, the main um, uh, anxiety is where to stuff stuff so that I can share a repo that you can get your own agent and then well,
Well,
what's sort done.
that's just
So,
repos. What's the
which is what you've just
what's
gone through. Yeah, yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the last block of functions is computer tools, which you this should be reserved for only the most powerful of agents. It basically allows you to make new computers,
Okay.
and that's all.
That feels like something you don't want to do through a landing agent.
No, definitely not. But
Yeah.
so what I was going to do is I was going to split up these tools to make it so that as part of your agent creation process, you can you can select which tools you groups of tools you want to give to each given agent. So like interaction tools, you have to give them to every agent. Like we can't make an agentic platform that doesn't have at least a
By
basic
definition.
inbox.
Yeah.
But agent tools would only be given out to very rare, powerful bots that were in charge of um, mutating, modifying, experimenting with agents.
Hmm.
So you'd hold those tools back. Image tools would be given to almost every agent. So there might
Hmm.
be some agents you really don't want them to use another agent to get their job done. You wouldn't give them these tools, but the majority of agents would have this ability to call on some other agent.
Yeah, but without image tools, you're really talking about a dumb bot.
Well, not really that dumb. I mean, Codex on its own is very powerful, and
Yeah,
so
but yeah, without any additional, ability to call other agents.
that's right.
That's
That's
what.
right.
Yeah.
Um, and then stuck tools is sort of only really for the bots that work on the stuck loop, which is sort of not many, I imagine.
No. Well, I imagine it may to be three or four images that identify
Yeah,
different types of
yeah, like they have
stuffs,
different ways that
including
work on the stuck process.
yeah.
Repo tools, I think I need to split this out because workspace checkout is really quite different to make a new repo. So maintaining or managing the computer's repos, I'd expect would be only like one bot, one agent in the whole computer would ever hold
Oh,
those
you mean
tools.
for the avoidance of fuck ups kind of thing?
Well, the ability to like sync it with GitHub, push it, pull it with GitHub, open up a new one, um, do merge conflicts, those types of things. That bot gets these three tools.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other bots that want to work with repos would only need the workspace checkout tool at most.
How would the check in Right.
Well, chicken's automatic. Plus, you can use Git. So that's sort of the thing here, right? Like, there's a narrow number of functions that you can't get from running a command line because, for example, you might think that, yeah, you could check out the computer's Git repo to your local workspace just by using Git at the command line, right? Of course you
Yeah.
could. But what you wouldn't do is this also modifies your agent.toml to record what repo you checked out as to what branch so that we can recreate it next time. And so that's why it has to be a tool call, because it does more than just what the base command line thing does, and it manages system integrity. Like agent.toml is crucial to system integrity, so it should not be able to be modified free form by an agent. It should only be modified by tested code. And that's really the design process I'm going through. There's a small number of files that must hold their format and their integrity are critical to function. Those are the things that are handled by tool calls. Everything else is the bash command line. It's like I really don't care. Like the repos, I hold the repos integral. I hold the agent structure and the inter-agent communication integral. I hold the agent workspaces integral. Everything else is like you can blow your own legs off. I don't even care. Like
Okay. So
you just got rebooted. It's like
here's
Edge of Tomorrow, but for agents.
you should check a test on that. I think we're there, or I don't know how many of these have been implemented, and but given what you've been saying, the test is what I'd like is a repo that I could refer to in NL.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, hey, ask the Tom Scott repo what the changes are since last night, and it
Oh,
would.
right. Yeah. So that would be. I think there's enough tools in the system for you to make an agent that would not only be able to do that, but that using the image name convention would be able to be referred to as that name. So it would just make a new image named the Tom and Scott repo, and then
Mhm.
you'd click off an agent that used that image, and then you're talking about that agent and you're talking to the repo.
Right. I think you're right. And so then I could say add in a hello world file into this folder. Um, and then what I would expect is that it's now committed.
Mm. So that's actually a really good notion there, because talking to the repo is exactly what I want to do for example, the codex code base, because it allows me to ask questions and have the answers persist over time, so that instead of the agent having to regenerate or rediscover the answers to, like, what are the system prompts of the codex CLI, it would distill it down, because it would do that, and then it would be like, yeah, that's a pretty good answer. The human liked it. I'm going to store that. And so next time it becomes like an instant answer. You're like, what's the system prompt of the thing? It's like, bang. And it's
Yeah.
just, so that's kind of what I think you're talking about when you say you want to talk to the repo.
And but also what I want is to talk to a shared repo that I'm asleep, you're awake. You can say, what did Scott do yesterday?
Mm.
And by that, I don't mean of the thread of the multiple, agents. Let's just say it's a bunch of notes um, that you can go in and ask the repo what's changed since yesterday. What's Scott done?
Yep.
Here it is.
Oh, right.
Available.
Yeah. So what's got done in terms of what changes have been
Yeah.
applied to this repo, right? So that would be you prompting up the repo bot and then using an image to name it as the repo for the Tom and Scott repo. And then that seems like that'd just be a prompting issue from there on in.
Does it feel like there's, I think, I'll not preempt your answer. Does it feel like there's enough tooling here?
Yeah, man, it
Or,
really does. I think that there's like you could. I'm not trying to be a dick on purpose, but you could ask me, I feel, any question of what you wanted to do, given that you are trying to be, you are being earnest, like you are wanting things that are earnest things to want. You're not particularly trying to be devious or
yeah,
to
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
it up on purpose.
yeah, yeah.
So in your earnest questions, I believe that every answer is going to come down to an agent with a subset of tools and some prompting.
So if I today were to, the way I would do this is I would probably create a new landing agent and say, I want to create an agent that has um, a repo. That repo needs to be available to anyone on this computer, and I want to be able to write to it, commit to it, and have that other person read to it, create me the agent, and no doubt there'll be like 3-4 hours of churning through and making sure it's right. But that should work, and I can test this as well because there's no permissioning here, so I can create
Mm.
another window. Um, is there any tooling that would stop that from happening?
Mm.
Basically, I want to be able to send you a message over a shared repo of Hello World, where you can look in and saying, what Scott's done today? Oh, he created a
Yeah,
text
look,
file saying Hello World.
I think that's fine. I think that works here.
I think it does as well.
I think that the key thing that we've got here is the ability to name, straighten out the naming, like that. What do you call it? And I want to talk to
Right,
blowfly, and I want to talk to capitalist prawn. Like
right. You
those are
could, you
hard
could,
problems.
I could call it Tom and Scott, and you could call it Scott and Tom,
Mm,
right? But we're
mm,
talking to the same repo. That should be fine.
mm. Yeah, that naming thing of how you discuss or how you declare or direct your jobs to which agent is actually, I think that's the key to the system, really.
It's definitely key to um, unloading cognitive load,
Mm,
because the last thing you want to do is to for anyone to send. You have to print out a sheet of, here's the name of the agents that we've got. It's like, okay, now I'm gonna have to like type in. That sucks. I
mm.
know what it's called. You know what it's called. I call it Tom and Scott. You call it Scott and Tom. We're talking about the same thing.
So there might be room for a tool that was like it was like an alias table tool that each agent could be given. That was almost like how to update the preferences of the computer, where
Ah,
preferences,
these are
uh,
preferences, aren't they?
these
Yeah,
are
you're right.
preferences, because
You're
I
right.
don't want to know what you called it that wasn't
Yeah,
the canonical name. I'm like, what the
yeah.
fuck would I care?
I
But
could go with that.
if you gave me
That multiple
access
Thomas,
to
and you don't
it,
you don't need
yeah,
to know that,
yeah.
right?
So that's really something different again, is like the preferences tool. Is it a tool? Yes, because you'd want it to be cross conversation, so cross agent, cross conversation. Actually, you'd probably want it to be just. Sorry, I cut through several thoughts there and then realized that there's a different solution that makes it not my problem. Not because I'm trying to not make it my
No,
problem, but because I think
crack
the
on.
best answer is that what I need to provide is a way for the any anybody to create a tool, so a user defined tool, where that tool is able to point at an agent. And so you could make a preferences tool, and all it did was it presented as an MCP tool, but it just called the preferences agent that you'd set up and made an image for and all that, and it managed a repo where the repo held the preferences of that computer,
Yeah.
right? And so the key thing that the platform has to give you is the ability to make that level jump, going from I made an MCP tool call, but actually it spoke to an agent. That's the key platform piece, because I'm using that trick shakily and for the first time in the images find tool call, where
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of uplifting it or hoisting it up to be an agentic call, but neither the agent nor the tool know that. And so like the tool caller thinks they're just calling a tool, and the agent thinks it's being spoken to by an agent, but it's really just it's different levels. So
Oh, there's something really neat there, isn't there? Because I don't know the right name for it, but what you're doing is uh, locally you think there's a tool call,
yeah,
and your agent therefore thinks it's a tool call,
yeah,
but actually there's some intelligence around that saying,
yeah,
okay, right, that's what you mean. You've stored your local preferences. This is what you mean
yeah.
by that
So
tool call, and
MCP
then it
tools, yeah,
turns.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
And so that means that like preferences is not, when you talk about it like that, preferences is not a platform concern. Preferences is a configuration concern where you configure the MCP call, and an agentic concern where you point the configured MCP tool at a specific agent. And then that
Yeah,
makes it not my problem, right?
right, right, right. And then we're into agentic world, happy
Yeah, so
days,
that really seems to
because we're
be the
just talking about
key.
tools.
Like being
Yeah,
able to turn any tool problem into an agentic problem is really the only bit that's missing from this platform, because at that point you can do anything.
right. And you can like nudge it and pistol whip it, and
Yeah.
anything you want to do,
Yeah.
but you're still getting ultimately a tool call on your preferences.
Yeah. Now
Quite
preferences falls into a class of tool that we may decide is so good and so useful that we make it part of like the standard set of tools that come with all the agents. Like it,
Mhm.
so it's not, it would become a platform level tool, not because it's a critical to function platform level tool, but because we think it's super useful. So there's a distinction forming now where I think that we've got all the essential tools here, where it's like this is sort of the minimum and the maximum. This is the tool set you need to manage an agentic system. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's a set of tools that are like, they're not essential, but they're bloody nice to have. So you could think of it in POSIX terms. POSIX defines some, like, it's about 20 shell commands that are like, these are the things you have to have. And then it's like, here's the things you might like. And it's
Right,
like,
exactly. It's
right?
like grep. I mean, where does grep fall in that?
Yeah, you don't need grep if you're trying to recover your if you're like if you're trying to boot, you don't need
Yeah,
grep. You can live without grep for a little bit.
yeah, but it's not beauty plastic either. We're not talking about the colors of buttons or the placing of
No,
buttons.
like grep's a powerful tool and you'd feel wounded without it, but it's definitely, it's not as critical as like your heart function,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know
yeah,
what you call those tools, but I think the distinguishing factor is that they are functionalities that are provided by reusing that core set plus some agentic prompting, and so the flavor of the agents determines the behavior of the tool. Whereas in this system, the only agentic flavor that affects its performance is that image find agent. And I
yeah.
just, for the life of me, I can't think of any way to do image find that isn't agentic. Like, I mean, I could
Uh,
give you a version that was purely embeddings based, and
oh
then you
no,
could, if you
oh, then
wanted
you're
to,
back
make it
into
be agentic.
additional pain. There's pain there. Um, but agentic should be able to do things like, hey, nobody's asked me to do anything. I've just been kicked off with the cron job. I'm going to look through the images and I'm going to like sort them because of this user might want to, based on their last thread, be able to use these. Um,
Right.
there's a whole
Ah, right.
bunch.
So really what we're talking about is after this that last little addition into the platform, there's a set of agents that would come with the default hypercomputer that would be like useful little agents, like the same way your computer comes with a calculator, a basic paint program, a basic browser, a this, the that,
Sort of.
right?
It's like it's not quite middleware, but it's kind of middleware. Kind of. It's not core. This is core.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
there's a level above that, which is actually really what you're, dealing with as a user. But then
yeah,
there's the presentation layer.
yeah, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
So we would then bundle in the hypercomputer these core platform functions which interface with the cloud infrastructure, the AI token generation machinery, storage, authentication, all those classical programming things.
yeah, yeah. Which is what this list is
Yeah.
essentially. Arguably, Stux maybe should be at the middleware, but
No, I
everything
think
else
Stux
is.
is critical to be um, they're so essential to platform function that the platform should control the format and location of them.
Yeah, okay, okay, yeah,
I
I'm gonna
think
roll with that. Yeah, yeah. I'm
because they
yeah,
need to be first class, like a first class item in the system.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'm
then
I'm not I'm not strong on that either way, but yeah, I'll
all
roll
right,
with that. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay. Um, and then fuck. Nah, you go. I'm like shit. My head. Um.
All right. I'm running out of time as well. I had
Oh,
quite
okay.
a
Cool.
lot to go through, but we can do it tomorrow if you're available.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So I'll make those final changes to the platform, and then I'm gonna honestly say that it's almost feature complete because we've got all the classical coding bits done that allow AIs to operate as agents with their own little sandbox blast radius computer. Um, there's enough classical software to configure the system to do anything you want to the point where you're free to just prompt agents and chat to agents and all that to get all the extra features you need. You can use those agents to install extra software and all that. But this
yeah,
is the interface between the cloud hardware and the AI agents. This is that sort of API surface in the middle. And the
yeah.
most critical thing that it does is it allows you to turn a classical computer tool call into an agentic call. And that's the key
That
thing.
that is the money shot right there, right?
I it does, we
Sorry,
need a different word for that.
that's the golden nugget,
Money shot. The
the golden
agentic
point.
money shot
Yeah.
is
We can get that right. And so just uh, very quickly. I'll not go through what I did yesterday
Mm-hmm.
because well, I will very very quickly. Um, the pattern that I'm flopping onto is right. Let's create a new landing agent. And now there's two things. There's building agents and then there's using agents. I haven't moved into using agents yet, so we're now in building agents. Flop onto landing agent and then talk about the workflow. It creates agents sweetly. It's lovely. No interaction, no intervention, rather. Um, and then I get it to run. I say, right, okay, let me show you my screen actually.
Hey, so I busted your. Oh, sorry. You go.
Oh, sorry, you busted me out. What? I
I
didn't feel
busted
any busting.
your. Well, I deployed software that overwrote your stuff.
Don't worry about this. This is still stacked inside of my me brain,
I
and
well
it would
no
be
I
useful to
broke
read
the
it.
ability to do agent create. Do you want me to roll you back to the previous version?
Oh yes, absolutely.
All right.
Because all of this is me asking of the landing
Like you
agent
still want to
create.
keep working today on the system as stands, right?
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
did you roll back agent create? What was the reason for that?
I modified it, and then as you saw, it had some faults in it. Like when it goes to do agent list, it faults because there's some non-compliant agent tommels in the old agents, and so it crashed, and so I need to patch that. So that's part of the testing I do, where I make some changes and then I roll it up or deploy it, and then I go through and try to use it, and I notice the faults, and I'm like, oh yep, agent tommel needs to tolerate old versions or
Oh,
old
I see.
formats.
I see.
But
Um,
so that new version had all of the code all of the this uh the platform functions were all present. The
mhm,
tests for the platform functions all passed, but
mhm.
in use there were some issues because of things like old versions of agents, so I need to troubleshoot through that.
Oh, I see. Right. So it's not like a hardcore problem. It's like transient.
I need to do more work, yeah. So
Yeah.
what
Okay.
I'll do is I'll roll you back to the previous version, and now you will be able to carry on just like you were this morning, theoretically, um, and you won't even know.
Yeah. Cool. Because the stuff I'm trying to do is multi-agent, which so this
Right. So you need that.
Jackal is all about creating agents
Okay.
and
The
reasoning
the the
around
key the key
agents.
mechanism we got to get to somehow, buddy, somehow is this ability to have an agent that looks at another agent and some intent and then iterates over making it meet that intent by changing the system prompt or whatever.
Yeah. Or the maybe this is just my preference. This might be not universal. Starting with a landing agent and uh, giving having that landing agent be able to create a blank agent that you tell it what to do in agents.md works really well.
Right.
I've not yet, and this is probably because we're early on in the process, I've not yet gone to um, create another agent based on this agent and I want to, morph it into something else.
Okay.
I've not I've not got that there yet, but certainly it would be an interesting thing.
That seems
So
easy to do. Um,
yeah, but
yeah.
the mode I'm in at the moment is create a new agent, and I'm talking to an agent about a process, and then I say, oh, that process looks pretty good. spin it up. It creates a bunch of other agents, and then I go to, well, there's two things I've been doing, and this is just for your information. There's no asks here. I've been talking to either the original landing agent saying, talk to, in this case, the router, which controls, so this is the notes thing. So it's an importer that makes sure that if you want to, I'll come back to this, you want to create a new bucket of stuff, it makes sure that it's done well, and then goes back to the router saying, hey, this bucket's now available. The router also knows, in this case, there's home and there's work. It flopped to steward. I quite like that as a word. And it's got, these are individual agents that have all the notes and transcripts and, ideation, all that kind of inventor's notebook stuff in each. When the user asks to router, the router can decide whether it returns. For example, if I said, what do I have to do on the home front? It would only ask home steward. Or if I say, what work do I have to do? Give me priorities. If I can also say to the router, and this works, I've tested and it works well, I can say, right, give me my overall priorities, and I will talk to home steward and work steward. And this is nestable and expandable sideways as well, so you can have as many of these, which is what import agent does. Now, the interesting thing I was trying, and I've not run to ground whether it works yet, but it seemed to work on first blush, was I asked the router to import the information in another agent that had nothing to do with this. And this was the Stux agent. So remember, I can't remember what it's called, Capitalistic Dragon or something. That was the thread that I'd been working with in order to generate the Stux loop. And it's like, that is a piece of work that I want in my notebook. So import agents successfully, as far as I can see, created another steward. It's not on here, but imagine here there was another steward that's like, okay, so you had a project called stock, and I'm going to take the information in workspace of that stock, and I'm going to mash it into the format that you've described as your notebook. And let me see if I can pull over. Hold a second. Yeah, you see that? So then I went into, right, you've created me a new steward. And so I went into that steward and then I asked it questions. And now this is not the original agent. This is the information that was condensed by the ingest into the format that I've been talking to the original agent about, in terms of, I've been talking to this agent, this is what I want you to remember, and create another agent that remembers what this thing does. This is not a thread. This is like, this is a project. This is like, I want to work on stocks, but I don't want to go back to the same thread because it's like polluted with lots of thoughts and so on. It's condensed down and so on. And then this was at the end of the day, yesterday. Let's see what my prompt was. Yeah, create an ASCII flowchart. Now, interestingly enough, condensing the information from the original stocks thread where I was working on making the Stux loop, that was ingested into the notes in such a way that it faithfully recreated the Stux loop, which I've not checked yet, but it looks on first blush to be exactly right, which is very interesting. So, and these are all the tools with the previous version, the version as of yesterday. So I'm getting no friction of going into a blank landing agent, talking about a workflow, getting it to spin up agents. Let's try that. No, tear that down. That didn't work. Let's try that. Okay, that seems good. Instantiate that, spin it up, and then going to the agents itself, and then asking it quite detailed information about what it, it had been given when instantiated from another agent. So you notice that the Stux work buzzard is not the capitalist dragon. I think it's probably not. It's something like that. But it's managed to pull in the information such that I've crunched it down, and now I can, if I want to go back to the Stux, I can talk to the handicapped jackal, unconscious buzzard, the router, and say, right, tell me what I was doing with Stux, and it comes back really nice. So that is the kind of, well, I'm not trying to pander to what the system is. I'm just asking the system to do what I want, and got quite far. And that was about 3 hours work in order to get from blank landing page all the way through, link it to a previous agent, pull that in to the notes, then go into the notes and then ask specific questions about what did I do with Stux, and it came back with the right answer. I found that really quite magical, to be honest.
Oh, that's good.
That's there's no actions on this. It's kind of a bit of encouragement, but the point is
so everything's really good.
It was a quite complex workflow, but at no point did it actually say no. Now, what I don't know, and here is a thing that I had to butt heads with it. It's very difficult to get an agent to answer any information about itself. Usually I have to go to another agent and then say, right, can you see this agent? Tell me what it does. It doesn't answer that.
So that's probably the best way to deal with that is using the image find tool, and it would give like an introspection agent. So you'd be like, here's the problem, I'm trying to see myself. And then
that's kind of where I flopped to, which is you need an agent to look at another agent to tell you what that.
I don't think they can see themselves yet.
Yeah.
All right. So what you're saying is the computer aspects, the conventional or classical computing aspects of the platform have been reasonably solid.
Yep.
The agentic nature is meeting your expectations for what Codex and Codex CLI can do, right?
Yep.
The interagent communication and control plane, such as create, destroy, and all that, is so far working out good for you.
Yep. The a kind of medium concern is take this, which is on the screen at the moment, which is quite, it's a very small flowchart, but it takes a long time for me if I then ask it to do something. Checking whether that is right is quite difficult. And the method I've been using is asking the router, for example, to go into work steward and say, what's next, and it'll come back with something, and then I go directly into work steward and say what's next, and they're subtly different. So it's
Right. So
I
what
think
you
what I'm
really
seeing
need
is
is
quite
like
a big
a
issue.
test plan where you can spin up um, disposable versions of home steward and work steward, populate them with some test data, and then exercise them and check off in a list the things that you went and did. Right.
Yeah, well, that's basically what I've been doing by hand, but
Yeah,
a
but you
better
need that
way
to
would
be
be to, yeah,
automatic.
to get an agent to spin
Yeah.
up two versions, ask the
Yeah.
router, you know,
So I've been thinking about doing that for exercising the platform, and I'd called it like the document I named it was shakedown, the like shakedown exercises
yeah,
for the
yeah,
platform
that's quite
where
good.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I want to make agent A and agent B and then agent C, and then agent A is going to tell agent B to talk to agent C and then get back to me. And so it's basically executing little mini topological exercises
yeah.
to make sure that everything's as we see it. And so I think that you can actually make an agent that could write a document in a repo that listed a testing plan and then write documents to that repo that represented executions of that plan, and it could score them and find faults. And then it seems like not a big leap to go from, if you can make an execution plan, you can also get it to try and make the execution plan pass.
Well, yeah, and that would be a competence level because I'm asking router to do something that is semantically identical to asking the agent itself to do. It's
Yeah.
going to be subtly different, but does it actually mean the same? That is
Ugh.
definitely an agent issue. And it's
Is
like,
it
give me a competence level. It's like, I'm not talking about word for word, but does it
mm,
mean the same thing?
is it okay if I stop recording now?
Yeah, sure.
All
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna start the upload, and then because it's really late